Hey guys, welcome to another math video. For this video I'll be talking about complex numbers and how to divide them. You might be wondering why I separated multiplication and division. Well, division is kind of a longer process than multiplication, and I didn't want to make that video into a super long one because I know how attention spans are nowadays. You guys want just to get down to the dirty bits, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so we'll be dividing complex numbers, and let's go over the steps. Okay, so if the denominator has a single term, I'm just going to go ahead and multiply that denominator to both the numerator and denominator, and then simplify it. But if your denominator has the complex form a plus bi, you're going to multiply the numerator and denominator by what's called the conjugate of the denominator. So, for example, if your denominator is a plus bi, the conjugate is going to be a minus bi. Basically, the conjugate is just going to be the opposite sign of what's between your two terms. Okay, then you're going to distribute FOIL as you need to, and then simplify. Okay, so let's take a look at a couple of examples. We can see each of these in action, so you can see what I mean. Okay, so here we have one term in the denominator, so I'm just going to multiply that to the top and the bottom. Like so. I'm going to multiply. Okay, so don't cancel because you just end up with the same thing, and we don't want that. Okay, because we want to get the complex number out of the denominator. It's kind of like having a square root in the denominator. We don't like that. So basically we're trying to get the complex number out of the denominator. Okay, so here we are. What we're going to do is we're going to simplify this because we have I squared here. So remember, I squared is -1. Okay, we're going to evaluate that. And then we're going to simplify. So these two numbers have a common factor, so we can reduce. So -6i over 5 is our final answer. Okay, and I know what you're thinking. It's not always going to end up like this, where it's going to be the negative and you're moving the I up to the numerator. It's not always going to happen like that. Okay. Okay, so let's try another example here. Okay, so now here in this case, we have a binomial, or the form a plus bi, in the denominator. So we're going to multiply both the top and the bottom by the conjugate of what's in the bottom. Okay, so remember, the conjugate is just the opposite sign of whatever's in between the two terms. So since this is a minus, we're going to multiply by a plus. Okay, so here we're going to distribute. Okay, so it's binomial times binomial. Here, this is the difference of squares. So this will simplify to this because the two middle terms will cancel out. Right, so if you do the outer and the inner, you get 4i minus 4i, and that will cancel out. 0i. Okay, so the top here, I'm going to simplify. So I got like terms. I got an I squared. Also got an I squared here. So I'm going to simplify all that. I'm going to simplify again. Here I'm going to simplify. I'm going to combine these terms. Okay. Now here I got like terms, here I got like terms. Okay, and now here I got nothing in common, so I can't reduce anything. So I can leave it like this, or I can separate them into two separate fractions, but me being lazy, I'm going to leave it into one huge fraction like this. Alright, and that's pretty much it. Otherwise, if you really have to, you can always separate your two fractions. If it were me, like I said, I just leave it like this. But since I can't reduce anymore, 17 is prime. So there's no common factors between 21, 18, and 17. So that's pretty much it. That's the end of that problem. Okay, guys? That's actually pretty much it for the division. Those are the two examples. The second one, this one here, obviously the more complex one. Okay. Alright, so basically that's all we did for this video. Divided complex numbers. If you need to go back and look at the examples again, go ahead and rewind. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Otherwise, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.